Imagine this. You've just finished a meal you thought was wholesome. Maybe a salad, maybe a light soup, maybe a crunchy snack of vegetables. You sit back, thinking you did something good for your heart. But then, later that night, your chest feels heavy. Your pulse races, and you wake up restless. You tell yourself, that's just age catching up with me. But what if it isn't? What if the very foods you thought were safe are quietly making your heart weaker every single day? For decades, we've been told vegetables are the ultimate good guys of nutrition. Doctors, diet books, even television shows repeat the same mantra. Eat more vegetables for a healthier heart. And while that's true in many cases, it's not the full story. Some vegetables, especially when eaten often after age 60, can raise blood pressure, stress your arteries, or even interfere with the way your heart cells use oxygen. The shocking truth: many seniors are eating these foods every week without realizing the danger. That's why heart disease continues to claim over 2,500 lives every single day in the United States alone. And yet, the warning rarely makes the headlines. So in this countdown, we're going to uncover the 5 vegetables that may be silently sabotaging your heart after 60. You'll learn how each one affects the body, why the risk is higher for older adults, and most importantly, which safe alternatives can give you flavor and health without the hidden harm. Stay with me, because vegetable number 3 has been linked to sudden heart failure in people who never suspected they were at risk. And vegetable number 1? It may be sitting in your fridge right now. Let's begin our countdown with a food that seems harmless, even comforting: canned tomatoes. They're in pasta sauces, stews, soups, and chili. Most of us grew up with them in the pantry, ready to turn into a quick meal. But for seniors, canned tomatoes can quietly become a major enemy of the heart. The first issue is sodium. One single cup of canned tomatoes can pack more than 450 milligrams of sodium, almost a third of the daily limit recommended for older adults in just one serving. And it doesn't stop there, because few people stop at just 1 cup. Add sauce to pasta, top it on pizza, mix it in soup, and suddenly your sodium intake skyrockets. Why does this matter more after 60? As we age, our kidneys lose some of their efficiency. That means they can't flush out excess sodium as quickly as they once did. The extra salt lingers in the bloodstream, pulling water into the vessels. Your blood volume increases, your heart has to pump harder, and your artery walls take the pressure. Over time, this extra workload causes the heart muscle to thicken and stiffen, paving the way for strokes, heart attacks, and arrhythmias. But sodium isn't the only problem. The second, and often overlooked, threat is BPA, bisphenol A. It's a chemical used to line many cans, including tomato cans. Because tomatoes are highly acidic, they pull BPA from the lining into the food more than almost any other canned product. You can't see it, you can't taste it, but you're swallowing it with every bite. Why should that concern seniors? BPA is a known endocrine disruptor, meaning it interferes with hormones that help blood vessels expand and contract. Research has shown that BPA can raise blood pressure in just a few hours. In fact, one clinical study published in Hypertension found that drinking a beverage from a BPA line can cause an immediate rise in blood pressure compared to drinking the same beverage from a glass container. Another analysis from JAMA Network Open found higher BPA levels in the body were associated with a significantly greater risk of cardiovascular mortality. And here's where the danger compounds. Seniors with pre-existing hypertension or prediabetes, both common after age 60, are even more vulnerable. That means canned tomato sauce with dinner could be enough to trigger palpitations, shortness of breath, or a restless night of pounding in the chest. In the comments of this very channel, one viewer admitted, "I used to eat canned tomatoes every week. I never thought twice about it. But once I switched to fresh, I felt better, clearer, with no more heart flutters at night." So what can you do instead? The solution is simple and delicious. Switch to fresh, vine-ripened tomatoes. Better yet, cook them gently with olive oil and garlic. Research has shown that seniors who consume tomato dishes made with olive oil actually experience a reduction in inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein, which lowers cardiovascular strain. If convenience matters, choose glass jars or BPA-free cartons instead of cans. Instead of thinking you need to give up tomato sauce, just change how it's prepared. Fresh, slow-cooked tomatoes with olive oil not only taste better, but they actively support your heart instead of stressing it. A small swap with a big payoff. Better blood pressure control, calmer heart rhythm, and less risk of hidden chemical exposure. Now, if canned tomatoes are hiding in your pantry, wait until you see what's next. Number 4 is a staple at summer barbecues and dinner tables across America. But it behaves less like a vegetable and more like a sugar bomb for your arteries. At number 4, we find a food that almost every American household has enjoyed for generations: sweet corn. It shows up on the cob at barbecues, in frozen vegetable mixes, in soups, in casseroles, and even in so-called healthy salads. It feels natural. It feels farm fresh. But for seniors, sweet corn carries risks that few people talk about. The first issue is that corn is not really a vegetable in the way your heart needs. It's a starch, and a starch that breaks down very quickly into sugar. Just 1 cup of sweet corn delivers around 24 grams of carbohydrates, nearly all from sugar and starch. For someone over 60, when insulin resistance becomes much more common, this sudden sugar surge can push blood glucose levels up like a roller coaster. Why is this so dangerous for the heart? When blood sugar spikes after a meal, it doesn't just affect energy. It injures the lining of your blood vessels, known as the endothelium. A study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology showed that seniors with higher post-meal glucose spikes had a 53% increased risk of coronary events, even when their fasting blood sugar looked normal. That means you could pass your morning blood test, but still face artery damage every time you eat sweet corn. And it's not only the sugar. Corn also tends to raise triglycerides, those fatty particles that travel through the bloodstream and lodge in artery walls. Over time, this process hardens the arteries, creating calcification that makes vessels less flexible. For a younger person, the body may recover more easily. For someone over 60, repeated glucose and triglyceride surges accelerate cardiovascular aging. There's more. Most corn in the United States is genetically modified and heavily sprayed with glyphosate, a herbicide linked in studies to gut microbiome disruption. When the gut barrier is weakened, toxic molecules slip into the bloodstream, sparking inflammation, a condition scientists call metabolic endotoxemia. In older adults, this inflammatory state can quadruple the risk of arterial stiffness. And when arteries stiffen, the heart has to pump harder against the resistance, increasing the risk of heart failure. One of our senior viewers put it bluntly, I've been eating corn for years, thinking it was good for me. Anyone else shocked by this? That sense of betrayal, believing you are doing something right while quietly hurting your heart, is exactly why awareness is so important. So what's the alternative? Fortunately, there's a simple swap that can give you the same comfort food texture without the sugar spike. Cauliflower. Steamed, roasted, or mashed, cauliflower provides a mild, slightly sweet taste, but carries almost none of the fast-burning starch. Even better, cruciferous vegetables like cauliflower contain sulforaphane, a compound shown in circulation research to reduce plaque buildup in arteries by up to 36%. That means not only are you avoiding the sugar trap of corn, you're actively protecting your arteries. Imagine this. Instead of a corn-heavy casserole, you bake one with cauliflower florets, herbs, and olive oil. It's filling, delicious, and doesn't leave you with a sugar crash or racing heart. Instead of sabotaging your arteries, you're giving them breathing room. Sweet corn is beloved, but for seniors, it can quietly turn every meal into a challenge for the heart. And as surprising as that may be, the vegetable at number 3 is even more dangerous. It doesn't just strain your arteries. It can actually destroy red blood cells and starve your heart of oxygen. Number 3 on our list may surprise you because, on paper, it looks like a nutritional powerhouse. Fava beans. Also called broad beans, they're rich in protein, fiber, and folate. Many diets, including Mediterranean-style eating plans, recommend them. But for a large number of seniors, fava beans can trigger a reaction so dangerous it can quietly rob the heart of oxygen. The condition is called favism, and it occurs in people who have a deficiency in an enzyme known as glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, or G6PD for short. This enzyme helps protect red blood cells from oxidative stress. Without it, compounds found naturally in fava beans, visine and convisine, can create a storm of free radicals inside the bloodstream. The result is the rapid breakdown of red blood cells, a process called hemolysis. Why does that matter for your heart? Red blood cells carry oxygen from your lungs to your organs. If they're destroyed faster than your body can replace them, your tissues, and especially your heart, don't get enough oxygen. The heart responds by beating harder and faster. For someone with existing cardiovascular issues, that oxygen shortage can trigger arrhythmias, chest pain, or even acute heart failure. This isn't a small, rare risk. Worldwide, around 400 million people are thought to have G6PD deficiency, and many don't even know it. It is more common in those of Mediterranean, African, or Middle Eastern descent, but it appears in all populations. Seniors with this deficiency often attribute symptoms like sudden fatigue, dark urine, or shortness of breath to just getting older, not realizing they may have triggered a hemolytic reaction after a meal with fava beans. One review in Cardiovascular Hematology reported that individuals with repeated hemolysis episodes from fava beans had up to a 61% higher risk of ischemic heart disease. That's a staggering figure, especially for people already navigating age-related cardiovascular decline. But here's the kicker. Even if you don't have G6PD deficiency, fava beans may still pose a problem. The compounds in them generate oxidative stress, which releases free radicals that inflame the lining of blood vessels. For older adults with naturally weaker antioxidant defenses, that extra burden makes arteries less flexible and more prone to rupture. One viewer on our channel commented, I always thought I was just tired after a heavy meal, but after eating broad beans, I'd feel lightheaded and weak. I never connected it to my heart until now. That kind of overlooked connection is exactly what makes fava beans so dangerous. They disguise themselves as healthy while quietly undermining cardiovascular strength. So what's the alternative? Fortunately, seniors can enjoy all the benefits of plant-based protein without the risks. Lentils are one of the safest, most heart-friendly legumes available. They're rich in magnesium and potassium, which support smooth heart rhythm, and in fiber, which helps stabilize blood sugar. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that seniors who ate lentils 3 times a week lowered their blood pressure by an average of 7 points in just 2 months. That's the kind of impact that not only reduces cardiovascular strain, but improves daily quality of life. So instead of broad beans that could starve your heart of oxygen, imagine a hearty lentil stew with vegetables and herbs. It's warming, satisfying, and, most importantly, safe for the heart. Now, as concerning as this sounds, the vegetable at number 2 may be even more shocking. It's the one many seniors consider their safe snack. It's low in calories, it's crunchy, and it's often juiced every morning. But for older adults, it can stealthily raise blood pressure and throw heart rhythm off balance. Coming in at number 2 is a vegetable that most people never suspect: celery. For decades, it's been marketed as the safe snack. Low in calories, full of water, good for weight loss. Some even juice it every morning, believing it cleanses the body. But for seniors, celery can be a stealthy threat to the heart. The first problem is sodium. Unlike canned foods, the sodium in celery isn't added. It's natural. But to the body, sodium is sodium. Just 2 large stalks of celery can contain over 100 milligrams of sodium. That may not sound like much, but remember, sodium builds up. A few stalks in your salad, some blended into juice, a bit added to soups. It all adds up quickly. For older adults, this matters more than it did at 30 or 40. As we age, the kidneys process salt less efficiently. That means the sodium lingers in the bloodstream, pulling water into blood vessels. The extra volume raises blood pressure and makes the heart work harder. Research in Hypertension Journal found that salt-sensitive seniors could see their blood pressure spike by up to 20 points after even a modest increase in sodium. Imagine what that does if you're already taking blood pressure medication. But sodium isn't the only problem with celery. It also has a diuretic effect, meaning it makes you urinate more. At first glance, that sounds like a good thing. It lowers water retention. But when combined with medications many seniors already take, such as prescription diuretics for hypertension or heart failure, it can push the body into dangerous imbalances. One of the most concerning is low potassium. Potassium is the mineral that keeps your heart's electrical system running smoothly. Too little, and the heartbeat can become irregular. The American Heart Association warns that low potassium levels can double the risk of atrial fibrillation in older adults. That means what starts as a healthy celery juice habit could quietly set the stage for dangerous heart rhythm problems. There's one more hidden risk: pesticides. Celery consistently ranks on the Environmental Working Group's Dirty Dozen list, meaning it carries some of the highest pesticide residues among produce. These residues include organophosphates, chemicals that can disrupt the nervous system and affect heart rate. Washing helps, but studies show these compounds penetrate deep into the stalks. For seniors with weaker detox systems, that extra chemical load is an unnecessary burden. Several viewers have already recognized this connection. One admitted, "I was juicing celery every morning, thinking it was good for me. I didn't realize it could actually be raising my blood pressure." Another confessed, "I thought my palpitations were just age. Turns out, they got worse on days I drank celery juice." These are real stories from real people, proof that the risk is not theoretical. So what's the alternative? If you love the crunch of celery, switch to cucumber or bell pepper slices. Both are naturally low in sodium, hydrating, and rich in antioxidants. Cucumbers, in particular, are a senior-friendly snack. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Aging found that older adults who added cucumber-based snacks saw a reduction in nighttime blood pressure variability, helping the heart rest more calmly during sleep. Think of it this way. Instead of juicing celery and unknowingly stressing your heart, you could enjoy cucumber slices with a drizzle of olive oil and lemon juice. You'll hydrate your body, support your arteries, and avoid the sodium trap. And that brings us to number 1 on the list, the most dangerous of all. This one is tricky because it hides under the label of flavorful and gut-friendly. But for seniors, it can set off a cascade of problems: higher blood pressure, disrupted sleep, and heart rhythm issues. Let's talk about pickled vegetables. Finally, we reach number 1. The most dangerous vegetable preparation for seniors: pickled vegetables, especially pickled beets and cabbage. At first glance, they seem like a smart choice. They add crunch, tangy flavor, even probiotics for digestion. But the reality is very different. For the aging heart, pickled vegetables can quietly be a recipe for disaster. The biggest problem is sodium. Pickling requires salt, lots of it. Just half a cup of pickled beets contains nearly 400 milligrams of sodium. A small side of sauerkraut can top 500 milligrams. To put that in perspective, that's almost a third of the recommended daily sodium intake for older adults. In just a few bites. Here's the issue. As we age, the kidney's ability to process sodium declines. Instead of being flushed out quickly, sodium lingers in the bloodstream. That excess salt pulls in water, increasing blood volume, which raises blood pressure. According to a 2019 study in the journal Hypertension, seniors on high-sodium diets had a 67% increased risk of left ventricular hypertrophy, a thickening of the heart muscle that leads directly to heart failure. But sodium isn't the only danger here. Vinegar, a key component of pickling, contains acetic acid. In small amounts, acetic acid can support digestion. But when consumed regularly in concentrated doses, like eating pickled vegetables daily, it can stimulate the nervous system to release adrenaline. This raises resting heart rate and blood pressure, especially at night. A study in clinical nutrition found that seniors who frequently ate pickled foods had significantly higher nighttime blood pressure spikes, which are strong predictors of sudden cardiac events. There's another hidden culprit: histamines. As cabbage and beets ferment, they release these compounds, which dilate blood vessels. For sensitive seniors, that means headaches, dizziness, flushing, and, in some cases, irregular heart rhythms. One viewer shared, "Pickled veggies were my go-to. No wonder my heart was racing at night." That comment reflects what many experience, without ever making the connection. Even sleep can be affected. Many seniors enjoy pickled vegetables with dinner, not realizing that the salt and vinegar combination disrupts deep sleep cycles. The body stays in a state of stimulation, cortisol rises, and the kidneys stay active overnight. You wake up tired, dehydrated, and with a racing heart, blaming age when it was the pickles on your plate. So what can you do instead? You don't have to give up flavor. Instead of pickled beets or sauerkraut, try lightly steamed or raw beets, tossed with lemon juice and olive oil. This way, you still get the nitrates that open blood vessels naturally, without the sodium overload. A 2019 meta-analysis in the Journal of Nutrition found that raw or lightly cooked beets lowered systolic blood pressure by an average of 4.7 points in older adults. That's enough to make a real difference in heart health. If you crave crunch, shredded raw cabbage with lemon juice and olive oil delivers the same bite without the harmful side effects. And if you want probiotics, stick to low-sodium fermented options in moderation or get them from yogurt and kefir instead. Pickled vegetables may look like a harmless side dish, but for seniors, they can sabotage the very organ you're trying to protect. Fortunately, with simple swaps, you can keep the flavor and lose the risk. Now that we've revealed the 5 worst vegetables for aging hearts, let's tie it all together with the bigger picture and some hope for the road ahead. So, what's the lesson from this countdown? It's not that vegetables are bad. It's that after 60, your body changes. The kidneys process salt differently, blood vessels respond more sharply to pressure, and the heart's rhythm becomes more fragile. Foods that once seemed harmless, like corn on the cob, a celery juice, or a spoonful of pickles, can now tip the balance toward high blood pressure, palpitations, or restless nights. But here's the hope. Every one of these risky foods has a safe, heart-friendly alternative. Fresh tomatoes with olive oil instead of canned, cauliflower instead of corn, lentils instead of fava beans, cucumbers instead of celery, fresh beets with lemon instead of pickled ones. Small swaps, big gains, better sleep, a steadier heartbeat, more energy in the morning. Your heart doesn't need radical changes. It needs thoughtful ones. And the choices you make today can protect your only heart for many years to come. If this video has opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button so more seniors can discover these hidden risks, and subscribe with the bell turned on. You'll get weekly heart-saving tips you won't want to miss. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you been eating any of these vegetables? Did you notice heart flutters, trouble sleeping, or rising blood pressure afterward? Share your story in the comments below. This channel isn't just information. It's a community. A circle of wisdom where seniors support seniors. Let's learn from each other and keep our hearts strong together.